second and fourth round picks in 2022 to the Jets for the 23-year-old. The Panthers plan to discuss exercising Darnold's 2022 fifth-year option with his agent, a source telling ESPN's David Newton. So the Jets are expected to select Darnold's replacement with that number 2 overall pick in April's draft. I really need to wear my glasses, so I apologize for that. Hopefully it made sense to all of you. The blue light, it's really starting to mess with me. Hey, Booger. Good to see you, sir. Super Bowl champ Booger McFarland here with us. But good to see you. Stephen A., I'm going to start with you, though. Who got the better of the deal?
Me personally, I think it's the Carolina Panthers. They've got a 23-year-old quarterback that I think has a lot of promise. Listen, I don't blame Sam Darnold for what he endured. What did he have to work with? What was the running game he had to work with? What were the receivers that he had to work with? As a matter of fact, their best receiver at one time Robbie Anderson ended up going to the Carolina Panthers anyway, if I remember correctly. And so when you look at it from that perspective, let's call it what it is. Sam Darnold was contaminated by Adam Gase, who should have never been the head coach of the New York Jets to begin with. All right, he had a 23-25 record in 3 seasons at the Miami Dolphins. How the hell do you lose your job in Miami after 3 seasons in which you finished 2 games under 500 and land within the division with the New York Jets? And not only did he land with the New York Jets, but he had a say in getting rid of the GM that ultimately assisted in bringing him on board, and then ended up picking his own GM in Douglas, along with the higher-ups, by the way. How the hell? See, this is the part that I'm talking about when I'm talking about privilege. You're Adam Gase. You're 2 games under 500 within the AFC East. You lose your job in South Beach, but somehow get the job in the same division in New York City, and you got some power. How the hell that happened? No wonder they only won 28% of their games.
Well, because he showed up and presented himself very professionally, Stephen A.
I love it. Well, if you're going to make jokes, Max Kellerman, you got to put the smirk. You got to put the smirk and smile on your face. You got to put the smirk and smile on your face too, because people might think you're serious when clearly you're joking. Because you're talking about when he showed up to his press conference, introductory press conference as the new coach of the New York Jets. Ha! That's how he looked. You know what I'm saying? I mean, they call it Gaston now because of him. He looked flat out zooted, okay? That's what Sam Darnold had to work with over the last 2 years. So I say to everybody, excuse me, you got a guy in Sam Darnold right here. You're going to look at him. I saw Mel Kiper Jr. talking earlier. If Sam Darnold was in this year's NFL draft, he would have been a top 3 pick. That's who you give away. You get a 4th-round pick. You get a 6th-round pick. I mean, come on now. I'm just saying he's 23 years old, and he didn't have good coaching. He didn't have a good organizational structure. The Jets are notoriously dysfunctional. One of your owners is the ambassador to the UK. His brother, whomever, is running football operations, okay? I'm just looking at it and I'm saying this is not a good situation for a young quarterback to be in. So Sam Darnold gets a fresh start, okay, working for a coach and playing for a coach who can coach. I think we all know he can coach, all right? And the Carolina Panthers organization is just a better organization than the New York Jets. I think they win in this.
The Jets won the trade. Let me explain. Because the Panthers are getting a guy who a lot of football people think highly of still in Sam Darnold, and you can see why. He has a lot of tools. I'm not ruling out that he might not have a good career. It's still possible for sure. Panthers didn't do bad for themselves. 2nd round picking some stuff. Okay. Probably can't get a quarterback that good in the 2nd round unless you're really, really good and lucky at evaluating quarterbacks. But the Jets got the better of the deal, and let me tell you why. Because this is the Jets, and they always make the wrong decision. I was thinking there's a good chance they hold on to Sam Darnold. Why would that be a mistake? Because while maybe he turns out to be good, and maybe you could blame Adam Gase, and it's an organizational failure. After all, it's not just about drafting, it's about development, right? Everyone knows that. But he does have a resume that's now 3 years long. And he's been, over that time, the worst starter in the NFL. And so if he does become a good quarterback, he's overcoming a sample size of evidence now that tells you maybe he won't be a good quarterback. He's still very young. There's time. I'm just saying that's up in the air. And even if he does, now you got to pay him. The rookie clock has been ticking. We're into year 4, right? Now, you could say what you want about Sam Darnold's talent and everything. To me, when I've watched Zach Wilson, which I've done more over the last several weeks, oh, my God, I see what people see. I think he is especially talented. Like, it's almost, I get why everyone loves Trevor Lawrence, me too, But it's almost like you kind of lucked out into picking second because that pressure's off. You get to take Zach Wilson. That's how highly I think of him, having watched him more now. Now, let me say this. It's not just that. It's that you reset the rookie quarterback clock. You're on year one. You have no decision to make over whether to pay that guy. And for a team that already had in the next 2 years, 4 firsts and 3/3, you now have 4 firsts, 3 seconds, 3/3, 3/4. You have a potentially franchise quarterback in Zach Wilson, and at least you don't have 3 years of book on him saying, it's not trending in the right direction. You don't have to pay him yet, and you have an embarrassment of riches in the draft to build around him. That's taking a shot. That's taking your swing, not getting cheated if you're the Jets. I think they did the right thing, and I think by moving Sam Darnold and taking Zach Wilson and getting a second, a fourth, and a sixth, they won the trade.
I completely disagree with you, Max. I think the Panthers won the trade and really by a wide margin. First of all, I'm on record as saying if I were Joe Douglas and the Jets, I would not have traded Sam Darnold. But they decided to. So now, who won the trade, the Jets or the Panthers? The Panthers got a 23-year-old quarterback who has a ton of untapped potential. You pair him with Joe Brady, the same offensive coordinator that took over with Joe Burrow down in Baton Rouge, and we saw what Joe Burrow became. So now imagine what a 23-year-old Sam Darnold is going to do with a better offensive coordinator, a better head coach, a better organization, better weapons around him. He's going to finally get coached. Did we not see what happened to Ryan Tannehill when he left Adam Gates and went with Arthur Smith in Tennessee? Did we not see that? Because if you didn't see that, you're going to see it again. You're going to see a quarterback leave Adam Gates and leave whatever dysfunction that we call the New York Jets, go to a better organization with better talent. Now, Max, to your point, when you watch Zach Wilson on tape, what are you looking at? Okay, because here's what I see when I watch it. Here's exactly what I see. I see a quarterback that can make some of the same throws, if not the exact same throws that Sam Darnold can make. So when we talk about talent, he's just as talented. Okay, Zach Wilson played behind an offensive line at BYU that was one of the best in college football. He didn't get touched. So how do we know that Zach Wilson or what he's going to do under duress, when he faces difficult times? I know what Sam Darnold is going to do because he faced those difficult times in the National Football League. And at the end of every season, even with Adam Gase and all that dysfunction, he played better and better. So now I'm going to put at the very worst, an equal talented quarterback in a very, very quarterback-friendly system with a better offensive coordinator, a better head coach, just a better overall organization. I think Sam Darnold is going to flourish and play better than Zach Wilson short-term and long-term. So if you're Carolina, you got to be smiling today like, man, we got a franchise quarterback for a 2, a 4, and a 6. You know what, man? Cash that ticket. Let's go home. So the Panthers won the trade, Max.
Listen, you look at DJ Moore, you look at Robbie Anderson. Remember, Sam Darnold played with Robbie Anderson. Remember, the year before they were 7-9, all right, and then they snowballed to 2-14. We all know that the organization was dysfunctional. I'm not escaping the fact that Sam Darnold was a turnover machine at USC. He's turned the ball over with the New York Jets. He got sacked about 35 times last year, 98 times over the first 3 years of his career, not even counting the amount of times that he's been hit. But this is the sport of football, as I brought up to you yesterday, Max, where we're talking about, a collective effort. One player is not going to make or break a team unless they're just that god-awful. And I don't think that we look at Sam Darnold that way. It's the fact that the Jets, led by Adam Gase, who should have never had that damn job, that man, the contaminating effect is what you witnessed from Sam Darnold. I think there's nowhere for him to go but up.
Well, I'm not disagreeing with that. He might get better. Maybe he's better than what we've seen. I think there's a good chance he is because what we have seen is the dead last worst starting quarterback in the NFL. Like if you were worse than Sam Darnold, you weren't starting anymore. And in fact, some guys who were worse were starting for too long and then finally weren't starting. And that's just the facts over the last 3 years. Of course, circumstance plays into that. And you can say, Booger, that he's at least as talented as Zach Wilson. To my eye, Zach Wilson looks like he has more arm talent than Sam Darnold. And that all of that ignores. So, like, maybe Darnold has this upside. Maybe it can be tapped into with Joe Brady and all that stuff. There's like Baker Mayfield also with bad coaching. He did not so much with good coaching, but maybe not. We will see. Same